OK, let's get back to, or try and get back to Frank Warren, Derek Chisora's promoter, about the brawl after last night's fight with Vitaly Klitschko. Frank, let's try again. Sorry, I had a few sound issues there. You were just telling us that you've sat down with the police and looked through some of the footage. What did you make, or talk us through your view on what happened in that press conference last night?
Well, I was on the top table, and what happened was that David Haye challenged Vitaly Klitschko to fight him. He made a lot of comments towards him. There was a lot of to and froing, and Bernd Bond, who is the manager of Vitaly Klitschko, said that he's got no chance of fighting him. Why don't you fight Derek Chisora? And then I said to Bond, if they were to fight, would the winner get a chance back at Klitschko? And he nodded. And from there it just got into some stupid banter, which culminated into what you see on television.
And we saw from the pictures that as soon as Chisora stood up, you seemed to ask one of the security staff to go with him. Were you thinking then that it could develop into what happened?
No, actually, that's his trainer, Don Charles. I just said, can you get hold of Derek? No, actually, I said, get him and bring him back. You know, I've seen a lot of video footage. I've seen some telephone clips that were taken of the fracas, as has the police. They were with us till about 3 o'clock. In Munich yesterday morning at the hotel. They said they wanted to speak to Derek in the morning. He may be able to leave the country or not. What happened then was that he, as you know, was at the airport. They asked him to go back to the police station, which he's done, and he's assisting them in their inquiries. A lot of people are making comment of what they think happened without actually knowing or seeing the actual footage. And I'm quite sure if you see some of the stuff and some of the photographs, you'll see that it wasn't actually Derek who threw the first punch. Not that I'm condoning or trying to stick up for him. What happened was outrageous and it was wrong, but he certainly did not throw the first punch.
Glenn McCrory, we spoke to a short time ago, he said that it's an embarrassment for British boxing what happened last night. Would you say the same? Would you agree with that?
I would say so. It was an embarrassment what happened to British boxing. There's, you know, it's not the first time it's happened. It happens on very rare occasions, but it has happened, and it's brought the sport into a bad light, which is a great shame for all the fighters that do behave, and there are 99% of them do behave and you know, carry a lot of honour into the sport.
And I understand you saying that, in your view, it wasn't Chisora that threw the first punch, but obviously already fined £31,000 for the slap on Vitaly Klitschko at the weigh-in, and now involved in something like this as well, where he did actively get off the press conference table and move towards David Haye. What do you think, what needs to be said to Derek Chisora? Because from the performance he put in the ring last night, when, as I say, he won a lot of friends, he doesn't need that sort of bad publicity, does he?
Well, first of all, he wasn't fined £31,000. $50,000 of his purse was withheld pending a hearing, so he hasn't been fined at all yet. Secondly, he got off the table with the microphone in his hand, stupidly, in my opinion, stupidly as it turned out. It was a ridiculous thing that he did, and it took away all what he did in the ring, because actually in the ring he fought really well. He was a huge underdog and he fought his heart out. He done, you know, I think he done as far as a boxer's concerned, done as best as he could. He gave Vitaly Klitschko the hardest fight I think he's had since he fought Lennox Lewis. It was only the 4th time that Vitaly Klitschko had gone 12 rounds, and he actually even won the last round. It's just ridiculous. Where, you know, there's a guy that when he gets into the ring can do so well, yet outside the ring, he gets himself involved in some really, really horrible situations.
Horrible situations, and when you hear Glenn McCrory saying he's a thug who should have his licence taken off him, how do you respond to that?
Well, I think Glenn's making a comment again. He doesn't know what the full facts are, and he hasn't seen the video evidence. As I said, you know, he didn't throw the first punch. It's as simple as that. You look at it. I think a lot of it's online now. It's on YouTube. He got hit in the lip with a. He said it was a glass or a bottle, and that's what happened. And I'm sure that the police will get to the bottom of it. In Germany, they're more capable than Glenn McCrory or myself or anybody. The police in Germany, I'm sure, will do the right thing.
Just bring us up to date then. You mentioned that, as far as you're aware, Derek is in police custody at the moment, or helping them with their inquiries. Do you know when he might be back on British soil?
I'm quite sure he'll be released sometime today, and I'm quite sure he'll come back today.
And when he returns, what will you be saying to him, Frank?
Well, we've said a lot last night. I was with him in the early hours. You know, whatever I say now or said yesterday isn't going to change the situation. You know, we need to, I think, let from his point of view, let this sink in to what position he's in and the reasons he's in the position, and then we'll deal with it as best we can and decide whether, you know, what his future, if he's got a future in boxing.
Do you question his future in boxing at this stage?
Sorry?
Do you question his future in the sport at this stage?
Well, I question, you know, in the ring, I don't think you can get more commitment from any fighter than Derek in the ring. It's, as I say, it's some of the silly things that he does outside the ring. You know, as I say, and I emphasise, he certainly did not throw the first punch in the brawl. And let's get it right, the press conference afterwards was for the participants and everybody who was involved in the promotion on Saturday night. It wasn't a David Haye promotion. It was David Haye who came in, and it was David Haye who started shouting off and calling people out. I mean, he was the one who came in and done that. It certainly was not Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora was there, and he should have, you know, as much as some of the stupid things that happened before the fight, after the fight, should have at least been able to have his moment of, which I felt was well-deserved recognition for what he did in the ring, but it was all taken away in what turned out to be an ugly and a horrible and disgraceful episode.
And just finally, as you questioned David Haye's very presence at that press conference, what would you say to those who say, Frank, that this was just a bit of a publicity stunt to get Chisora a fight with Haye?
I would say they were total idiots. I'm sure if you think somebody wants to do a stunt like that, to get hit with a bottle and to wind up in a Munich police station, the other guy, so I understand, is can't be found. That goes beyond, I think, you know, you just got to be a complete moron to even come up with a suggestion like that.
Frank Warren, really appreciate you speaking to us. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.